Welcome to the sixth industry meeting. From now on, we ask you to please turn off your cell phones or put them on silent mode. We'll invite everybody to experience everything that will be brought by this event under the scope of competitivity, sustainability, innovation, and internationalization. In the exhibitors lounge, we'll have stands from CNE, SESI, SENAI, EL, industry federations, Project Clube Indústria de Benefícios, and of our sponsors, Sebrae, Andrade Gutierrez, ABDI, and ENIPI. Visit our interactive space, an area that was created to provide interaction with new technologies in a playful and creative way. There, you will also find a cyber cafe to use the internet. For your comfort, we have a cloakroom in the entry hall near the registration and a cozy cafeteria right next to the restaurant with special coffees that will be open all day. For questions, we'll have an innovation. You have little pads on your chairs. And from now on, please be in the strip provided by the sixth industry meeting. This country, you know, now it's time to meet another Brazil. We are the seventh economy in the world, leaders in Latin America, the fifth best country to invest in, the third greatest agricultural exporter, and the 10th biggest industrial producer, the second in oil production. We have the seventh chemical industry in the planet. We are the third largest industry. We work with fashion, we innovate, we give wings to those who want to fly. And we surprise the world with our energy. We are creative, modern, bold. The 8th consuming market with infrastructure, qualified labor, and more than 8 million square kilometers of good opportunities. Behind these numbers is CNI. The National Industry Confederation represents 27 state federations, more than 1,300 unions, and 420,000 companies. And it helps the Brazilian industry to become more and more modern, diversified, and integrated to the world economy. This Brazil, this more competitive Brazil, is also built with qualified labor. SENAI is one of the largest professional education systems in the world, helping the industry all over Brazil with more than 800 schools. Through partnerships, it exports its technology and methodology to the world. All around the country, SESI helps several companies promote a more healthy industry. Workers discover new worlds, multiply knowledge, find safety and health at work. They have sports, culture, and several reasons to smile. Looking at the Future and Business Management, IEL, Instituto Valdo Lodge, qualifies business people and entrepreneurs. It's just like that, with education, culture, innovation, and health, that the industry system helps transform Brazil. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Viviane Costa. I am a journalist of Rede Globo Brasilia, and we'll be together in the next 2 days during the Industry National Meeting. This event is provided by the National Industry Confederation and is sponsored by Sebrae, SESI, SENAI, Andrade Gutierrez, ABDI, BNDES, Caixa, INPI, and Petrobras. The 6th edition of this event has the theme of strengthening the Brazilian industry competitiveness, and it will approach great national issues in the economic context, social context, and political context that influence the competitiveness of the industry and Brazil's insertion in the globalized market. Today, we'll start with a debate on the theme, Brazil's agenda for competitiveness. After lunch, we'll have a second debate on the theme, transformations and challenges of a globalized industry. And after the break, we'll have a theme session, building a new tax regime. Each session will be comprised of a discussion between the speakers and followed by questions that will be voted by the participants. For the questions, you will use the pads that are attached to your chairs. Voting the questions will happen in the following way. There will be 3 blocks of questions that will be showed in the screens with 3 alternatives in each so that you can choose the ones you judge more important to be answered. An automated interactive voting system will indicate the ones that received the highest number of votes in each block that will be answered by the speakers. Participants that wish might formulate their own questions through printed files, and after the debates, these files will be given to the speakers and will be answered later and sent by email. In the end of each session, you will also be able to choose through an electronic voting what is priority in each theme so as to help CNI to build the industry agenda. We will close the activities with a cocktail served in the exhibitors area so as to facilitate the visit to the stands. And to welcome you and to start officially this event, the President of the National Industry Confederation, Robson Braga de Andrade. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, fellow business people. Greetings to the Executive Director of the National Economic Council of the White House that is in this event today, Mr. Lawrence Summers. I would like to greet our fellow, the Vice President of CNI, Paulo Scaff, President of Fiesp, and on his behalf, I would like to greet all the presidents of federations that are here today, the ambassador of the Dominican Republic and the president of GRULAC, which is the group of ambassadors of Latin America and Caribbean, Ambassador Hector Dionisio Pérez, and I would like to greet all the ambassadors that are here today, the president of ILA, Henry Comfrey, and all the integrants of his board, the ambassador of Panama, Gabriela Carranza, the diplomatic body, institutions representing the private sector from Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Cuba, Ecuador, Haiti, Honduras, Panama, Peru, Venezuela. All the class entities here represented, business people, press, ladies and gentlemen. I am very satisfied to receive you here today for this national industry encounter. This opportunity gathers business people, leaders, and private sector representatives from all the states of Brazil and from all parts of the national territory, all fellows that are dedicated to the industry cause. I thank you all for being here, all the authorities and industry representatives. I don't want to make a particular speech. I want to talk from business person to business people of our daily routine at CNI. Even if I was part of the board of CNI as the president of the industries of Minas Gerais, I had no idea of our agenda's dimension and the implications for the country. After a year being the president of CNI, I'd like to share a little bit of my routine, telling you a little bit of my typical working week so that I can explain CNI's work. I would like to get your attention to what happens in Brasilia and how it matters for each one of us. I would like to highlight that business people should be in Brasilia because their fight is the fight for a better country. A typical week starts with a pile of reports, trying to anticipate what's going to happen in the week and bringing proposals for CNE's positioning. They show what we should support and what we should fight in Congress. CNE monitors more than 130 public policies and more than 4,500 law projects. If we were in the company and we observed a situation like that, we would instruct everybody to review processes. But Brazil is not a company. This huge amount of projects shows important dysfunctions in our political system. In Brazil, the idea that the work of the Congress is producing projects was spread, and Brasilia became a factory of law projects. The problem comes that a part of these projects is pure fuel for the industry of the Brazil costs. When we talk to the presidents of confederations of other countries, I get surprised with the low number of law changes in these countries. Just so you have an idea, in England, where we have been recently, the British Industry Confederation follows up less than 20 projects. It's a huge difference. This brings our first problem. Themes that seem far from our daily lives are essential for the country. A political reformation is not something that we can ignore. We have been absent of the Constituent of '88, and nowadays we feel the negative effects of this absence. We have to be present. There are changes happening and opportunities to act. It's a game of attack and defense. Sometimes we are on a trench, defending ourselves from creating projects and new costs. Sometimes we are eliminating obstacles or creating competences for the industry to develop. The last Tuesdays on each month are dedicated to the board meetings. It's the moment to discuss more difficult issues. Colleagues from all states participate in the discussions, guaranteeing that the whole country is represented there. It's in this meeting that we discuss direct inconstitutionality issues. There are more than 70 actions like that. They represent the defense of the industry in relation to the states through actions that are presented to the Supreme Court. Along the years, CNI has had important victories in terms of taxation, environmental laws, and state laws that were hurting the federal constitution, such as the wages in Rio, or the prohibition of planting eucalyptus in Espírito Santo, or tax incentives and the tax war. Wednesday is the main day in the National Congress, the day where the discussions and panels are at full speed. In these days, we had a participation of public audiences. I personally discussed matters of our interest, but our technical team is there every day. Our action in the National Congress is complex and full of risks. The recent law on the notice is an example. Due to the STF decision, the Congress had to make a pronouncement. There were more than 36 projects on the theme. We had to choose, and we couldn't choose the ideal project, but the one that would cause the least impact and the most feasible one, because there was a huge risk that the political solution would be worse. On my daily agenda, I try to prioritize contacts with my fellow industry representatives. Besides trips, I save some time in our São Paulo office to be in direct contact with business people, find out about their needs, collect information for my representation activities, and defend our interests. The representative action requires constant dialogue with government authorities. We use all the means we have to transmit the industry's positions through councils and public committees, specific meetings. We express our opinion about subjects that are on the scene. In the last few months, education, industry politics, innovation, taxation, and work laws and infrastructure were the themes that most used our attention. Another area that takes a lot of our time is the international agenda. There is a constant flow of international visitors that come to the country to discuss commercial opportunities and investment opportunities. There is the need to defend the Brazilian interests in international summits, discussion about exchange, volatility on the capital movement in the G20, commerce in OMC, and technical barriers. These themes and other themes are decisive ones for the entrepreneurs' interests, with consequences that will show in the future. This representation of the industry interests can only be done with the engagement of federations, unions, sector committees, business people, and in the several councils where CNI is present. Business people bring concrete cases and they reveal the absurd of the legislations that are so far from our reality. In this last year, we have been working in different fronts, always with the support of very competent business people. In the solid waste national plan, the electronic point, the PDV, and measures to the preparation for the Rio Plus 20 conference, measures for exemptions in imports and investments of the Brasil Maior plan. We were able to get important victories in the National Congress with the approval of CAD, Pronatec, positive registration, the elimination of costs for Northeast companies associated to the merchant marine, and the amplification of limits for micro companies and debts division. I would like to emphasize this message. It's essential to take the experience of the business people there. Business people know where they need help. We cannot be absent of the environments where political decisions are made. They're complex processes and they need participation so that we can achieve advances. Absences are omissions. Absences will become costs for the companies, and consequences will be a country with a smaller capacity of growth. In order to have an effective political and company action, we have to have unity of action around our common objectives. We have to prioritize our convergence points. There are several lessons on how it can be a disaster if we don't have a converging action. Strengthening dialogues is our obsession. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of work. Discussions sometimes don't go forward, but this is how you build things in a democracy. My fellow friends of the industry, the fronts Brazil needs to go forward are countless. There is a lot to be done. This year, we faced a RGR battle, which is one of the taxes on electric energy. We were contrary to its continuation. This is a primary mistake that destroys competitivity. This battle we lost. When the theme involves losing revenues, in the government. It's a very difficult task, but we need to persist. We need to try and reduce energetic costs, and here we can actually reach advances. Brazil is one of the countries with the highest energy costs in the world. It's absurd because we have abundant energy, renewable energy sources, and we are trying to show that outsourcing labor is inevitable because it means specialization and therefore competitivity. We don't want to make work conditions worse. We fight that. Our long-term agenda is defending deep changes when it comes to innovations. Public resources for innovation should be directed towards companies. They are the responsible actors in the innovation. In BRAP's creation, with the management model that prioritizes the private sector, is an important step that CNI is proud of being part of. Mobilizing business people regarding innovation, we are working on an agenda to improve the innovation environment in Brazil. In the competition field, we cannot be satisfied. The loss of space in the transformation industry is something we cannot ignore. In this short period that I've been the president of CNI, the most important lesson I've got is that we cannot be far, we cannot be distant. Us, as business people, have to look beyond our factory gates. Our future is also Brazil's future. Our competition and our capacity of survival will depend on the ways the country takes from now on. We cannot just sit down and hope that the best happens. We have to act, speak, and be heard. We need to issue a clear sign that an industrialized and strong Brazil is essential to generate works, and it's essential for our growth capacity. So a wide country such as Brazil, with most of its population living in urban centers, requires a strong and dynamic industry. Just to finish, I would like to give you a concrete example on how the company presence can produce high-quality results. I'm talking about the conquest of Brazil, represented by SENAI and SENAC students, as being in the second place in the World Skills competition. It's the biggest professional education competition. It happened in England and it gathered more than 50 countries. The most developed countries in the world were there. Brazil overtook the United States, England, France, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, and many other countries. It only lost to Korea, which for many years has demonstrated to have the best professional qualification in the world. In the last three tournaments, Brazil was twice in second and once in third. In the past 10 years, we were always among the five first. Brazil has one of the best professional qualification programs in the world, with SENAI being one of the best institutions for such. So I ask you, what built SENAI? What can explain that SENAI is an institution that qualifies first world workers? Certainly, there is more than a reason for that. A stable budget is certainly a reason, but it is the presence of the industry class led by the industry federations that seems to be the main reason for such success. The company governance brings school and companies closer, brings information, and quickly detects market evolutions, generating a flow between companies and schools. And in the knowledge field, it was also essential that business people introduced at SENAI work ethics, bringing attitudes of effort, discipline, commitment that are part of companies. Ladies and gentlemen, if in a World Cup This being second leaves us very sad. Being second in the knowledge Olympics in London makes us very proud. So the participation of business people is important for Brazil. Today and tomorrow, we will discuss the future of the industry, the world crisis, the challenges in education, the real needs, environmental needs, the unavoidable infrastructure that we need, a more rational taxation system. China, globalization is a very wide agenda for to build a better and wider country. I'd like to congratulate two ex-presidents of CNI that were very important for our work and for the results that we've been getting nowadays. Albano Franco and President Carlos Eduardo Moreira Ferreira, that built the basis for what CNI, SESI, and SENAI developed today for the Brazilian industry. I wish everybody a great 2 days of work, and thank you very much for being here.